What's the stupidest thing you ever seen a religious person call satanic? An injured bat. The person I knew smashed the poor thing to death because it was satanic. Fucking awful. I remember a lady saying she refused to eat mushrooms. They were satanic because they grew in the dark. A toothache. The devil is trying to enter my body, was the quote. Initially I thought they were making a weird joke. They were serious. I knew this Christian lady that refused to eat deviled eggs. Edit. My wife said her cousins weren't allowed to eat candy on Halloween when they were kids because their mom didn't want to celebrate the devil's birthday. My wife's mother pulled her out of the Care Bears movie when she was a kid because the bears were casting satanic spells out of their stomachs. My wife still holds a grudge. An energy drink. Without a shred of sarcasm, I once heard an evangelical describe hot Cheetos as a product of the devil. Being left-handed. A church I visited wouldn't let me play music BC of it. The same teacher who taught abstinence-only sex ed class took away my deck of magic cards because they were satanic. How am I supposed to keep my virginity without my magic cards? Movie theaters. My dad couldn't go to movie theaters as a kid because his parents are so obsessively religious. The 80s country music song, Elvira, by the Oak Ridge Boys. They were convinced they were singing, Hell Fire Up, instead of, Elvira. Godzilla, because God's name shouldn't be used like that, told his kids there was a spelling error and it's actually called, Goodzilla. D&D, but strangely enough not the Lord of the Rings. Back in the 90s my family had a home PC. We didn't have much, so this computer was a big deal to my brothers and I. For schoolwork and some good old-fashioned DOS games. My dad managed to figure out how to get a screensaver with sound onto the computer. Was quite proud of himself too. He failed to mention this screensaver to my mother, who is very religious. So one day I am sitting in high school and get called to the principal's office mid-second period. Now I am a darn near straight A student who didn't get in trouble ever. So this isn't something that has ever happened to me. I get to the office, and I was told my mother called and was very distraught and I needed to head home to be with her. I hear the secretary telling another office staff that she was losing her mind. And a few variations to that effect. I rush home to find the pastor from church performing an exorcism on our computer. My mother praying fervently through gasping sobs. The pastor and my mother prayed for some time before my dad came home. My dad gets home mad he was called home, then he just starts laughing hysterically. Calls my mom a few variations of dumb. Goes and wiggles the mouse to bring the computer up and plays the Darth Vader screensaver he added to the computer. Give in to your anger. With each passing moment you make yourself more my servant. I find your lack of faith disturbing. You underestimate the power of the dark side. If you will not fight, then you will meet your destiny. You know all the come to the dark side quotes. With a picture of Darth Vader's face. Of course my mother couldn't get the computer to do it again because she kept messing with it. And it never went back to sleep mode. So of course her first thought was we had a evil satanic computer possessed by the devil himself. The pastor just quietly snuck out with me during my dad's laughing and my mom's sobs. Women speaking or asking questions in church. 14-year-old me with a CD player. For a while I wasn't allowed to use the word weird because it was associated with witchcraft. Apparently because Shakespeare wrote about the witches of weird. Edited to say, Thanks to those of you who are knowledgeable about Shakespeare and are able to explain how ridiculous of a claim this was. It's helpful to hear as an adult. But 8-year-old me didn't have a leg to stand on at the time. I was just trying not to burn in hell for all eternity. Cold sweat smile. The sound of an electric guitar. Mental gymnastics. Back in the 70s it was a lot of stupid barcodes. The little symbol on Procter & Gamble products. Yoga and/or meditation. Lots of different music by different artists. My small-town Christian private school had a particular teacher who was absolutely dying mad about his students' fondness for Michael Jackson, AC/DC, and other bands of the time. The funniest one of all was dancing. The joke around my conservative Christian college in the 80s was that sex was outlawed because it could lead to dancing. For some bizarre reason, the administration thought dancing was totally evil. Star Trek. Mostly. I think. Because my racist uncle couldn't stomach a black woman and an Asian dude being functional members of a spaceship crew.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Ericast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.